Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Ōkami walkthrough. So we've found 5 of the 8 canine warriors. There's 3 left. Annoyingly, they're not here, and we're going to have to hunt for them. Because that's the only way we are going to be able to progress through the Gale Shrine, and hopefully take down the Crimson Helm. Now, before we actually go and do that, there's a few things left in Kusa Village that I would like to get done. It's mostly kind of picking up chests, feeding some animals, etc, etc, etc. But there is also a monster list that we can pick up. So, as we had one in Shinshu Field, there is also one for Taka Pass, and that's basically the main purpose for this part. It's basically why the title up there reads Ill-Fated Beauty Haruka, because that is the character from which we are going to get this monster list. I believe there are a few other things that we can do in Kusa Village, but kind of the big things have to wait until after we've finished being in the dungeon of the Gale Shrine, which is going to be a little while yet. Also, there goes me trying to bloom and doing a sunrise. It's what happens when you have circle to do both techniques. Also, I just spotted a dig spot that I should have spotted when I was playing. Oh, that is embarrassing. The thing is that I would have spotted it had it still been night, as it was. But I was just like, yeah, definitely just leave it as day. I mean, the thing is that there's not a whole lot that you can actually do at this point in the game anyway. You will later on earn the ability to turn things to night. And oh my good god, is that an absolute godsend. Because it means that you can choose when it's day, when it's night. And that means that finding dig spots is so much easier. As it is right now, I'm forced to wait. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Well, either wait or use the guide to tell me where things are. And even then, that's not always a dead cert that I'm going to find what I want. But what's really cool is that you can see Taka Pass from up here, which is amazing. Like, I mean, the game has somewhat poor draw distance, but jeez. Now, what this guide is talking about, the Celestial Plane, is going to be incredibly important. And I believe that it may have well, quite a lot of importance in Japanese mythology. I'm not 100% sure. I would assume so, considering pretty much most religions have some form of afterlife. But I'll get back to you on that one. Anyway, we have another blockhead. Now, this guy is more difficult than the last one, in that I believe he has one more weak point. Thankfully, this is still not that bad in the grand scheme of things. Now, I'm going to be a little bit of an idiot trying to get to that clover that's sitting up there, but don't worry, we will make it eventually. But something I will say right now is that for beating that blockhead, you get 2 clovers and a treasure. Like, what more could you want? It's free experience. And also you have this clover up here. So that's kind of pretty easy 15 praise. Which at this point in the game can still be quite a lot. Now, the celestial plane that guy mentioned, in its Japanese name, it's Takamagahara, which is the dwelling place of the gods in Shinto legends. So, the name Takamagahara is the plane of high heaven. So, it's incredibly important. And it's related to, like, heaven, which is Ame. But there's also an actual mountain in the Gunma prefecture called Mount Takamagahara. So, in a way, it's sort of an instance of Mount Olympus, but not really. The actual celestial plane is kind of connected to the earth by the bridge Amano Ukihashi, which is the floating bridge of heaven. So they're using the real dwelling place of the gods as the celestial plane here, so that's quite cool. Now, if you pop into Mr. Bamboo's house, there is a dig spot right here. It's a very easy dig spot. I don't know why I didn't pick it up earlier. Well, I know why I didn't pick it up earlier, but still. Because stray bead! Hell yes! Annoyingly, there's not a dig spot in here. But, oh well, I can forgive Mr. Bamboo that, because I love him so much. I have to say, I do wish that I had spoken to him after things were restored. Because that would have made a bit more sense. Slash, do it, you know, when we were searching for the K9 warriors in here, but it's done now. There's not a whole lot else I can do about it. Now, this is the inn, which is where we're going to get our monster list. And there is a bear here. It looks just like Sleepy. And if you kind of ram into it, it'll give you free health and it'll move, which is slightly terrifying, but oh well, we'll roll with it. We also have a Daruma doll, which lacks a pupil. If you ink the other eye in, you get a prize. Now, Daruma dolls are also known as Dharma dolls. Basically, they're hollow, round, Japanese traditional dolls modelled after Bodhidharma, who is the founder of the Zen sect of Buddhism. And they are the inspiration for, like, Darmanitan and Darumia. I think it's like Darumia in Pokemon. So, it's quite cool. Basically, they're talismans of good luck. So that's good. Also, here we have Haruka, and she's kind of on the loo right now, so we've got to leave and come back, because basically, she's the one that needs to give us our damn monster list. Now, I can't quite find a relation to Haruka in Japanese myth, but there probably is something about a girl who sets out to avenge her father's murder. I'm not 100% sure, but her name means far off or distant, but it can also come from Haru, spring, or Haru, clear up, combined with ka, flower, or ka, smell or perfume. Basically, we get the revenge contract. Basically, it's just killing lots of dead fish. Which is... could be worse. Also, I like how she's called Mrs. Plum. I don't know whether Plum has any importance in Japan. Probably has some relevance. I mean, there's a Japanese plum tree, which is important. But also, outside of Kusa Village's inn, you had, like that tanuki. Looked like a plush thing, but God knows in this game. And obviously, I mean, if you've played like Super Mario 3D Land and 3D World to an extent, you should know about the tanuki. Also, if you've seen like Pompoko, that pretty much gives you everything you need to know. They're basically like raccoon dogs, but they are hugely significant in Japanese folklore because they're reputed to be mischievous. No, not mischievous, mischievous. Mischievous is a wrong word, I should not be saying it. But mischievous and jolly, masters of disguise and shapeshifting, but also somewhat gullible and absent-minded. So they transform into things, also have massive genitals. And what's slightly terrifying about Ōkami is that, not entirely, but like you do see some genitalia about. I mean, they very, very, very wonderfully included Army's anus on her model. And pretty much for, like, the youngest of the boys, I mean, pretty much, it's a thing in Japanese culture, or at least ancient Japanese culture, I don't know. I don't think they do it really anymore. But, like, the traditional clothing just let everything hang loose. And, I mean, if you watch Tale of Princess Kaguya, you see everything on babies. It's also the same in most classical art, whether you are talking about Japanese art or Western art. They just really like showing off genitalia. And when it comes to animals, certain ones have massive ones. And I can't believe this is something that I'm discussing in a video game. Oh. Either way, it's time to head back into Taka Pass. Completely ignore what I've just been talking about for the past 5 minutes, please. And finally, we are actually going to be making use of all that praise I've been accumulating. As you can see, it's very, very easy to accumulate praise. So you should not be having any worries at all about levelling up. Because it's so easy to get the stuff that you should be just rolling in it, really. I think the only point at which I screwed up in my levelling was around... I believe it's in the final dungeon of this third of the game, where I should have pumped my praise into my wallet, because I was essentially losing money. Not actually a problem, because it's so easy to get so much of it, but still. Either way, here we have a Red Devil, the Detested. Now this works exactly the same as the monster list in Shinshu Field. Find the enemies with the exercising arrows in them, kill them, and profit. Now, I can't remember whether we will be returning to Haruka immediately, or not. Might be, but then again we might not. Basically, we have to return to Kusa Village anyway, so after you have done this, you can choose to just leave handing it in until, you know, you actually need to go back to Kusa Village. Because first stop is an area that we haven't been to, which is in Tiger Pass, and then we need to work our way back to Agata Forest, and then back to Shinshu Field. So, it's up to you how you go about it, really. Also, it's really annoying that Tiger Pass is so big, at least when you're doing this, because it's just like, I know where the enemies are that I've got to kill, but which one of these enemies in this surprisingly large space is that? Because near the rock isn't necessarily the most helpful thing in the world. Also, I love that he's called Weirdo the Abhorrent. I am in love with the names of the monster list enemies. They're just hilarious. Because they're just so weird. It's brilliant. Now you may be hoping that something else is going to happen in this part. Unfortunately, no, this is going to be the rest of the part, beating up Haruka's revenge contracts. But we will be ending the part about to enter a very terrifying place. And it is indeed terrifying. We've already been to it. It's the Cutter's house. But we're actually going to venture inside. It's going to end well. Also... oh... So, if you return to Molly and the gang after being to Kusa Village, he'll offer another challenge. And oh my good god, this is difficult. Because they are fast, and you have milliseconds to hit Molly. I was here for, oh god, it must have been about 30-40 minutes trying to do this. It's not even like you can make this easier. It's just, you've just got to hope and pray for the best. Because once again, you have got to hit him 3 times to succeed. And I finally did it, but I cut out the entire horror of that because I was here for absolutely forever, and all you get is a bloody vase. Or vase. Probably should say vase, as that's the more British way of pronouncing it, but vase, vase, potato, potato. Now, if you picked up a pinwheel back in Kusa Village, you can give it to this tea customer. And, I believe, get some praise. Yep, 10 praise! Yay! Once again, that's very, very easy praise, especially because you probably talked to him when you got here, and he tells you I want a pinwheel, in no uncertain terms. So, once you're in Kusa Village, you can get a pinwheel, you buy it, and you just take it back to him. It's dead easy. And thank God it turned to night right then, because I was hoping that I wouldn't get trapped. Having to kind of sit at the top, just waiting for night to come. Obviously I had to do that when we were waiting to earn Cherry Bomb. But, I really hate having to wait in games. And really the only reason that I'm having to do this waiting is my own fault. It's like I'm either too slow in getting places, or I need to do something at a time that's not decent. Either way, bulging eyes the despised. That's beautiful. As a part of me does wish that they had selected different enemies to appear in these monster contracts, so you had a mixture of like dead fish, imps, blood ogres, etc, etc. Because I think that would have made these a little bit more interesting. If only because you're not killing the same enemy again and again and again. Because it does get a little bland after a while, and evidently, as you can see, they've got artwork available to them. So they could have changed it up a little bit. I will say I'm hugely grateful that you can leap over that, because it does mean that it's a lot easier to get back to this area from the top area than it is getting up to it. Anyway, thank God we only have 2 of these guys left. Cursed Gil the Repulsive. Repulsive is certainly how I would describe him. And, thankfully, one more. Woof! So all that's left is to find Deathfin the Repugnant, and then we can go sneak into the Cutter's place. I'm not sure how you're technically meant to know that you need to go to the Cutter's. I suspect that it's you try to head towards where the next area is that we need to visit, and the guy in the front there tells you about something missing, and I believe they may direct you to the Cutters. But I should point out also that you need to go to them at night. That is the only time that you're going to be able to do this, so make sure that it is night time when you head to Mr. and Mrs. Cutter's house. because you need to sneak in through the top. And yeah, we're going to be absolutely terrified by what is waiting for us. Thankfully, the revenge contract is complete. Obviously, right now you can go back to Haruka if you want to. I'm pretty sure I am not, because I'd rather do this thing first. In all honesty, it's technically kind of more important once you realise what you're actually having to do. Either way, the cutters are inside so we can mess about. And there's some dark stuff going on there. Let's cherry bomb it and drop in on them. Give them a bit of a rude awakening.